Okay, what kind of muscle? All right, and this micrograph is replete with intercalated discs. They do exist, you know, in spite of what some of you may feel having looked at your slides. I mean, we have 3 or 4 slides of cardiac muscle, and generally there's one of those 3 really shows you the intercalated discs, okay? The other thing that you can see here is striations. You get a little bit of a feel for that here. You get a sense for, I'll show you, branching here. And also, look at these longitudinal profiles of the centrally located nucleus, and you can see there's a white, a clear space around it. That halo is where there was a lot of glycogen that's been removed in the process. That can be useful if you're looking at a cardiac muscle where you have cross sections. Like out here, you can see the halo there. So you've cut that longitudinal fiber in cross section. You have the nuclear profile and that little white or clear halo. We also have what in this? Purkinje fibers. Usually they run right below, this looks more like an adventitial setup, but right below the endocardium. I think I threw in, no I didn't. So final bit of muscle here. Again, this is so high power context, I can't tell you whether this is intercircular, this is outer longitudinal, or vice versa. But it doesn't really matter, okay? What we know is that when you see the nuclei, these cigar-shaped structures cut in long section, that muscle is arranged circularly, okay? When they're cut in cross section, it is, how am I going to say this? It's if the gut is my finger, all right, and the long axis is this way, I cut it in cross section, the intercircular muscle is going to be longitudinal, the outer longitudinal is going to be cut in cross section. If it's a longitudinal section, it's vice versa. Now, you know, keep those words in your head and make sure that you understand that orientation, because it helps you determine when you're looking at gut, because you know by definition that the layer of smooth muscle that is next to the submucosa is intercircular. You can tell what orientation the section is. All right? These cells are probably only 5 microns in diameter, maybe 200 microns long, but they taper. They're what's called fusiform. So that you get a packing density that gives you the profile when it's cut in cross-section. Clearly where you see nuclei, you're cut in the middle of the cell. If you look here, you can see circular profiles of varying diameters. The smaller they are, the further away you are towards the tip of the cell. It gives you a nice packing density. Okay, let's make this blood cell identification quick and easy, all right? So I'm assuming everyone's got red blood cell flow, right? And I'm going to further make the assumption that in a micrograph like this, you could tell me that these were, okay. So let's focus on the leukocytes, right? If you see a nucleated cell, it's got to be a leukocyte, all right? Now the question is, what type? If the nucleus is segmented, all right, think of a string of sausages that are connected. You twist the casing. That's kind of what's happening in the nuclear material. If you see that, you got to start thinking, well, it's a granulocyte, but if it's segmented, it's got to be a neutrophil, all right? The second thing is you need to get this wired. There are granules in this pale staining cytoplasm, but they don't stain as intensely as eosinophils, which would be pink, or basophils, which would be purple, okay? So let's look at a eosinophil, right? Here the nucleus is often lobed and not segmented, all right? But look at the cytoplasm. You know, I'm calling that closer to pink. And we compare that with a basophil, where you've got lots more purple there, so much so it almost obscures the nucleus, all right? So let's, neutrophil, segmented nucleus, cytoplasm that doesn't stain with pink or purple granules. Lobe, bilobed nucleus usually, pink granules, eosinophil. Lobe nucleus, purple granules, basophil. All right? That leaves us with monocytes. Look at the size of this cell. the nucleus alone looks to be a little bigger than this red blood cell here. So you keep size in mind. Nothing really happening granule-wise. The nucleus can be large and eccentric, which means it's oriented to one side of the cell, and oftentimes has an indentation, or is kidney shaped, monocytes. And that's in contrast to the other agranulocyte, which is a lymphocyte. Past students have looked at this nucleus and thought that it was a basophil, because you're seeing a lot of purple. Don't make that mistake. Notice the cytoplasm is just this very thin rim, and you've got this huge nucleus. So the nucleus to cytoplasm volume is large. The cell is mostly nucleus. So this is lymphocyte. We can't tell whether this is a B, a T, or an NK. You need special stains for surface markers. And that's all she wrote. So next week we're going to do cardiovascular and lymphoid systems.